The restaurant lights glittered overhead like tiny stars, but I barely noticed them anymore. My hands rested flat on the white tablecloth, steady and calm, while my husband Nathan smiled at me from across the table. That smile should have warmed me. Instead, it made my stomach turn cold. "Amber," he said, his voice carrying across our private dining room where 30 of our closest friends and family sat watching us. "We've been married for 8 years today." I nodded, waiting. My sister Rachel sat 3 tables away, her eyes fixed on me with concern. She knew something was wrong. Sisters always know. Nathan stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. The room fell silent. People smiled, expecting a touching speech about love and commitment. I knew better. I'd known for 3 weeks exactly what was coming. "Marriage is about honesty," Nathan continued, his voice strong and confident. "About being true to yourself and your feelings." My fingers curled slightly against the tablecloth, but I kept my face neutral. "Breathe in. Breathe out. Stay calm. I need to be honest with everyone here tonight," Nathan said, and then he gestured to his left. "This is Simone." A woman in a red dress stood up from the table next to ours. She was young, probably 25, with perfect makeup and a smile that showed too many teeth. She moved to stand beside Nathan, her hand sliding possessively onto his arm. The room erupted in confused whispers. Someone gasped. I heard my mother's sharp intake of breath from somewhere behind me. "Simone and I have been together for 6 months, Nathan announced, looking directly at me now. "I'm in love with her. This is the end for us, Amber. I found someone new." He said it like he was announcing a business merger. Clean, simple, final. Simone's smile widened. She looked at me with something like pity mixed with triumph. In that moment, I understood she'd pushed for this public humiliation. She wanted me to cry, to beg, to make a scene. I did none of those things. Instead, I picked up my wine glass and took a slow sip. The Merlot tasted expensive. It should, considering Nathan had charged it to our joint account. The account I'd emptied 2 days ago. "Thanks for the heads up," I said quietly, setting down my glass. Nathan blinked. This wasn't the reaction he'd expected. Simone's smile faltered slightly. I reached into my purse and pulled out a manila envelope. It was thick, stuffed with papers. I'd prepared it carefully over the past 3 weeks while Nathan thought I suspected nothing. "Since we're being honest tonight," I said, standing up smoothly, "I have something for you too." I walked around the table in my blue dress, the one Nathan had always said made my skin glow. My heels clicked against the floor. Every eye in the room followed me. I handed Nathan the envelope. He took it automatically, confusion crossing his face. "Open it later," I said softly, so only he and Simone could hear. "Or don't. Either way, you're going to scream." Then I turned to face our guests. My voice came out stronger than I felt inside. "Thank you all for coming tonight," I said. "Dinner is paid for. Please stay and enjoy the meal. I'm sorry you had to witness this." I looked at my sister. Rachel was already standing, grabbing her purse. She pushed through the crowd toward me. Nathan's hand shot out to grab my arm. "What's in the envelope, Amber?" I pulled away from his grip. "Your future. Or lack of one." Simone laughed, a high-pitched sound that grated. "You're pathetic. Just accept it's over." I looked at her directly for the first time. "I accepted it 3 weeks ago when I found out about you. Everything else I did after that was just preparation." Nathan's face went pale. "What do you mean, 3 weeks ago?" I didn't answer. I just walked toward the exit, my head high, my spine straight. Rachel fell into step beside me, her hand finding mine. Behind us, I heard the sound of tearing paper. Nathan was opening the envelope. "Good. Let him see it all now, in front of everyone. Let Simone see it too." The screaming started before I even reached the door. Nathan's voice rose above the shocked murmurs of our guests. No. This can't be legal. Amber. I didn't turn around. I just kept walking. Rachel squeezed my hand. "You okay?" she whispered. "Getting there," I said. We stepped out into the cool night air. Behind us, Nathan's voice grew louder, more desperate. I heard Simone asking what was wrong, her voice sharp with concern. I climbed into Rachel's car and finally let myself breathe. Really breathe. My hands started shaking then, all the adrenaline catching up with me. "What was in the envelope?" Rachel asked as she started the engine. "Everything," I said. "Divorce papers. Transfer documents for the restaurant. Evidence of embezzlement. A formal complaint I filed with the police about missing business funds." Rachel's eyes went wide. "You're not playing around." "He humiliated me in public," I said. "He thought I'd be weak. He thought I'd fall apart. But you didn't. No, I agreed. I got smart instead. As we drove away, I looked back at the restaurant one last time. Through the windows I could see chaos. People standing, pointing, talking. Nathan waving papers in the air. Simone backing away from him, her face shocked. It was the last time I'd see that place as Nathan's wife. When I returned, it would be as the sole owner. The envelope had changed everything. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been sleeping when my phone buzzed at 2 in the morning. Nathan wasn't in bed. Again. He'd been working late a lot. At least that's what he told me. Our restaurant, Bloom's, was doing well. We'd built it together from nothing, both of us working 70-hour weeks to make it succeed. I understood long hours. I accepted them. But something felt wrong. I got up and walked downstairs. Nathan's study door was closed, a line of light showing underneath. I heard his voice, low and warm, the way he used to talk to me. "I can't wait to see you tomorrow," he said. "Wear that dress I like." My heart stopped. I stood frozen in the hallway, my bare feet cold against the hardwood floor. I know, Nathan continued. "Soon. I promise. We'll figure it out." I backed away silently and returned to bed. My mind raced through 1,000 possibilities, each one worse than the last. In the morning, Nathan acted normal. He kissed my forehead, made coffee, talked about the new menu we were testing. I played along, smiling and nodding while my stomach churned. That afternoon, I did something I'd never done before. I called a private investigator. His name was Tom Patterson, recommended by a friend who'd gone through her own divorce. He met me at a coffee shop far from our neighborhood. "Tell me what you need," Tom said. He was older, maybe 50, with kind eyes that had probably seen too many broken marriages. "My husband is having an affair," I said. The words felt strange in my mouth. "I need proof." "Does he know you suspect anything?" "No. He thinks I'm clueless." Tom nodded. "That's good. Keep it that way. Don't confront him. Don't change your behavior. Let him get comfortable." Over the next week, Tom followed Nathan. The pictures came back quickly. Nathan and Simone at restaurants. Nathan and Simone at a hotel. Nathan and Simone at a jewelry store looking at rings. Rings. He was going to leave me for her. That much was clear. But the real discovery came when Tom dug into our business finances. "Your husband has been moving money," Tom told me during our second meeting. "Large amounts. From your business account into a personal account only he can access." I felt sick. "How much?" "Over the past 6 months? Close to $200,000. My hand shook as I set down my coffee cup. "That's embezzlement." "It is," Tom agreed. "Do you want me to document everything?" "Yes, everything. Every transaction, every transfer, every receipt." I spent the next week acting like nothing was wrong. I smiled at Nathan over dinner. I asked about his day. I pretended not to notice when he came home late smelling like perfume. Inside I was planning. Rachel was the only person I told. We met at her house one evening while Nathan thought I was at a book club meeting. "Are you sure about this?" Rachel asked. She sat across from me in her green living room, her face worried. "Maybe you could try counseling." "He's stealing from our business to fund his affair," I said flatly. "He's planning to leave me. He's been lying for 6 months. What's there to counsel?" Rachel reached for my hand. "I just don't want you to regret anything." "I won't regret protecting myself." That night, I started gathering documents. Bank statements, business records, partnership agreements. Everything that proved Nathan and I owned Bloom's together, 50-50. I found something else too. A prenuptial agreement we'd signed 8 years ago. I'd forgotten about it, honestly. We'd been so in love, so sure we'd last forever. The prenup stated that in case of divorce due to infidelity, the faithful spouse received full ownership of any jointly owned businesses. Nathan had insisted on that clause. He'd been worried about me cheating, apparently. The irony tasted bitter. I made copies of everything and stored them in a safety deposit box at a bank Nathan didn't know about. Then I met with a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Holmes, and she had a reputation for being ruthless in divorce cases. She listened to my story without interrupting, taking notes in neat handwriting. "You have a strong case," Patricia said when I finished. "The prenup is clear. The embezzlement is documented. If we move carefully, you can walk away with the restaurant and he'll face criminal charges." "I want both," I said. Patricia smiled slightly. "Then we'll get you both. But we need to be strategic. No confrontation yet. We'll prepare everything, file the papers, and serve him when he least expects it." "He's planning something," I told her. "Our anniversary is in 2 weeks. He's been acting strange about it." Strange how. Excited. Like he's planning something big. Patricia's expression darkened. He might be planning to announce the affair publicly. Some cheaters do that to control the narrative. My stomach dropped. At our anniversary dinner? It's possible. If he does, let him. Stay calm. Don't react. It'll only make you look better in court and in the eyes of your mutual friends. I thought about that for a long time. The idea of sitting through a public humiliation made me want to scream. But Patricia was right. Control was everything. What if I had a surprise of my own? I asked. Patricia raised an eyebrow. What kind of surprise? Legal papers. Divorce papers, transfer of ownership, everything. What if I gave them to him at the dinner? In front of everyone? Patricia considered this. It's risky. But if you can stay calm, if you can control your emotions, it might work in your favor. You'd be showing strength, not weakness. I can do it, I said. I spent the next 2 weeks preparing. I visited our accountant and explained the situation. Together, we created paperwork that would transfer Bloom's entirely into my name. With a prenup and Nathan's embezzlement, it was legally sound. I filed police reports about the missing money. I gave them Tom's evidence. They agreed to wait until after the anniversary dinner to move forward with an investigation. I bought a new dress, blue and beautiful. I got my hair done. I practiced my calm face in the mirror until it became natural. Nathan noticed nothing. He was too busy planning his own announcement, too caught up in his affair to see what was happening right under his nose. The night before our anniversary, I barely slept. But when morning came, I was ready. Whatever Nathan had planned, I had something better. The morning of our anniversary, Nathan woke up excited. I could see it in the way he moved around our bedroom, humming while he got dressed for work. Big day, he said, adjusting his tie in the mirror. It is, I agreed, my voice neutral. He came over and kissed my cheek. His lips felt cold. I've got something special planned for tonight. So do I said truthfully. Nathan smiled, not understanding. He never understood what he didn't want to see. After he left for the restaurant, I sat in our bedroom for a long time. 8 years of marriage lived in this room. Photos on the dresser. His shoes by the closet. My books stacked on the nightstand. I felt sad, but not for the reasons I expected. I wasn't mourning Nathan. I was mourning the person I'd been when I married him. That version of Amber believed in forever. She trusted completely. She thought love was enough. I knew better now. My phone rang. Patricia. Everything is ready, my lawyer said. The documents are prepared. I'll have them delivered to you this afternoon. Remember, stay calm tonight. Don't let him get a reaction. I won't. And Amber? You're doing the right thing. Don't doubt yourself. After we hung up, I got dressed carefully. The blue dress fit perfectly. I chose simple jewelry, nothing flashy. I wanted to look put together, but not like I was trying too hard. Rachel called twice to check on me. Are you sure you don't want me to come over? She asked during the second call. I'm fine. I'll see you tonight at dinner. He's really going to do it? Announce the affair in front of everyone? That's what Tom thinks based on Nathan's behavior patterns. And honestly, it makes sense. Nathan likes control. He probably thinks surprising me publicly will keep me from making a scene. Rachel made an angry sound. He doesn't know you at all, does he? No, I agreed. He really doesn't. The afternoon crept by slowly. The documents arrived at 3 o'clock, delivered by a courier. I opened the package and reviewed everything one more time. Divorce papers citing Nathan's infidelity and embezzlement. Transfer documents supported by our prenuptial agreement. Bank statements showing the missing funds. Photos from Tom's investigation. A formal complaint filed with the police department. Everything was there. Everything was perfect. I placed it all in a manila envelope and set it in my purse. At 5 o'clock, I drove to the restaurant. Bloom's looked beautiful. The staff had decorated for our anniversary, probably at Nathan's request. White flowers everywhere. Candles on every table. Soft music playing through the speakers. I wondered if Nathan felt any guilt walking through these decorations, knowing what he planned to do. The private dining room was in the back. I arrived early before the guests. Nathan was already there, talking to Simone in the corner. He didn't see me enter. It'll be perfect, Simone was saying. She'll probably cry. Then you can comfort her, tell her you'll help her through the transition. Very mature, very dignified. Exactly, Nathan agreed. No drama. Just honesty. I cleared my throat. They jumped apart like teenagers caught kissing. Amber, Nathan said, his face flushing. You're early. So are you, I said, looking at Simone. Both of you. Simone recovered quickly. I'm the new event coordinator, she said smoothly. Just making sure everything is perfect for your anniversary. How thoughtful, I said. I took my seat at the head table and watched them scramble to act normal. Nathan kept glancing at me, trying to read my face. I gave him nothing. Guests started arriving at 6. Friends from college. Nathan's business partners. My family. His family. People we'd known for years, people who thought we were happy. I greeted everyone with smiles and hugs. I accepted their congratulations. I pretended tonight was just another celebration. Rachel arrived with her husband Tom. Not the investigator Tom, her actual husband. She caught my eye from across the room and nodded once. I nodded back. She understood. My mother came over, beautiful in a purple dress. You look tired, honey, she said quietly. Is everything okay? It will be, I told her. Dinner was served at 7. The food was excellent, but I barely tasted it. My mind was focused on what was coming. Nathan kept checking his watch. Beside me, I could feel him building up his courage. I knew the moment he decided to do it. His whole body tensed and he reached for his water glass, drinking deeply. This was it. I placed my hands flat on the table just like I'd practiced. Steady. Come. Ready. Nathan stood up. The room quieted. He started his speech about honesty and being true to yourself. I watched the faces of our guests. They were smiling, expecting something sweet. My mother looked proud. Nathan's father looked bored, ready for this to be over so he could have dessert. Then Nathan gestured to Simone. She stood, that red dress bright under the lights. The smiles disappeared. Confusion replaced them. Then shock. Nathan said the words. This is the end for us, Amber. I found someone new. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just reached into my purse and pulled out the envelope. The weight of it felt good in my hand. Solid. Real. Proof that I wasn't powerless. When I handed it to Nathan and told him to open it later, I saw genuine fear flash across his face. Good. You should be afraid. Walking out of that restaurant with Rachel felt like shedding an old skin. The night air was cool and clean. Behind me, Nathan's screaming grew louder. What happens now? Rachel asked as she drove. Now he deals with the consequences, I said. And I start over. My phone started buzzing with calls and texts. Nathan. His mother. His business partners. I turned it off. You can stay with me tonight, Rachel offered. Thank you. We drove in silence for a while. Then Rachel said, you know everyone is going to talk about this. Let them talk. They'll know the truth soon enough. What truth? That I didn't just walk away. I won. The morning after the anniversary dinner, I woke up in Rachel's guest room with my phone still turned off. For the first time in weeks, I'd slept through the night. Rachel knocked softly on the door. Coffee? Please. We sat in her kitchen, sunlight streaming through the windows. The coffee tasted better than anything I'd had in months. Nathan called me 17 times last night, Rachel said. After you went to bed. What did you tell him? Nothing. I didn't answer. My phone still sat on the counter, powered down. I knew turning it on would mean facing reality. Messages. Calls. Probably threats. But I couldn't hide forever. When I finally pressed the power button, my phone exploded with notifications. 43 missed calls from Nathan. 26 text messages. Voicemails from his lawyer. Emails from business partners. I ignored all of it except one message. Patricia. Call me when you're ready, her text read. We have work to do. I called her from Rachel's porch where the morning air was still cool. How are you holding up? Patricia asked. Better than expected. Good. Because Nathan's lawyer contacted me this morning. They want to meet. Already? He's panicking. The police called him in for questioning about the embezzlement. He knows he's in trouble. A small, cold satisfaction settled in my chest. What do they want to discuss? Everything. The business, the divorce, potential criminal charges. Nathan is trying to negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate. That's what I told them. But we should meet anyway. Let them show their hand. We scheduled a meeting for the next day. After hanging up, I sat on Rachel's porch for a long time thinking about the past 3 weeks. The discovery of Nathan's affair had been devastating. But the embezzlement hurt worse. He hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. He'd stolen from our dream, the business we'd built together from nothing. I remembered opening Bloom's 6 years ago. We'd been so broke, maxing out credit cards to buy equipment. Nathan and I worked side by side, cooking, serving, cleaning. We stayed up late planning menus. We celebrated our first good review by dancing in the empty restaurant. When had that changed? When had Nathan decided none of it mattered? My phone rang again. I checked the caller ID. Nathan. Against my better judgment, I answered. Amber, thank God, Nathan said. His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. We need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding. Which part is the misunderstanding? I asked calmly. The affair or the theft? Don't call it that. I was going to pay it back. With what money? The money you were spending on Simone. Silence. Then, you've been spying on me. I've been protecting myself. Amber, please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I made a mistake, but we can work through it. I almost laughed. You stood in front of our friends and family and announced you were leaving me for another woman. You humiliated me on purpose. There's no working through that. I was confused. Simone, she convinced me that I was unhappy. But I'm not. I love you. I love our life. You love our restaurant, I corrected. Which you no longer own. That can't be legal. My lawyer said we can fight it. Your lawyer is wrong. The prenup is clear. Infidelity means I get the business. And the embezzlement means you'll probably face criminal charges. Nathan's breathing grew heavy. You planned this. You knew about the affair and you planned all of this. I protected myself, I said again. That's not the same thing. Amber, please. I'm begging you. Don't do this. We can share the restaurant. I'll end things with Simone. Just don't press charges. Where is Simone now? I asked. Silence. She left you, didn't she? When she found out the money was gone. That's not. She just needs time to process everything. She used you, I said. And you let her because you're weak. You always have been. I just didn't see it before. Amber. Don't call me again. Have your lawyer contact mine. I hung up and turned off my phone once more. Rachel came outside with more coffee. That sounded intense. He wants to negotiate. He thinks I'll give in. Will you? I looked at my sister. What do you think? Rachel smiled. I think he doesn't know who he's dealing with. The next day I met Patricia at her office. Nathan's lawyer was already there, a man named Gerald something. He looked expensive and annoyed. Mrs. Roberts, Gerald said. Thank you for meeting with us. It's Ms. Hayes now, I corrected. I'm going back to my maiden name. Gerald nodded. My client wants to discuss a settlement. What kind of settlement? Patricia asked. Mr. Roberts is willing to give Ms. Hayes 60% of the restaurant. In exchange, she drops the criminal complaint and agrees to a quiet divorce. No, I said immediately. Ms. Hayes, please be reasonable. This is a generous offer. It's my restaurant, I said. All of it. The prenup says so. Your client violated the terms of our marriage. He gets nothing. The prenup might not hold up in court. Then let's go to court, I said. Let a judge see the evidence of the affair and the embezzlement. Let's make it public record. I'm sure the business community would be very interested. Gerald's jaw tightened. You're being vindictive. I'm being fair. Nathan made choices. Now he lives with the consequences. The meeting ended badly. Gerald threatened legal action. Patricia calmly showed him more evidence of Nathan's theft. He left looking pale. After he was gone, Patricia turned to me. You're sure about this? Taking everything? He took everything from me first, I said. My trust. My marriage. My sense of safety. Why should he keep half of something he tried to steal? He shouldn't, Patricia agreed. But the fight might get ugly. I don't care. I'm done being quiet. I'm done being nice. Over the next week, Nathan tried everything. He called from different numbers. He sent flowers to Rachel's house. He even showed up at Bloom's one evening, but the staff called the police before I had to see him. His lawyer filed motions. We filed counter motions. The legal battle was exhausting, but I refused to back down. Then something unexpected happened. 3 of Nathan's business partners reached out to me. They'd heard about the embezzlement. They wanted to know if their investments were safe. I met with them at a neutral location. I showed them everything. The missing money, the timeline, the evidence. This is bad, one of them said. This could destroy Bloom's reputation. Not if we handle it right, I said. Nathan stole from the business. I'm the victim here just like you. If we present it that way, the restaurant can survive. They agreed. Together, we drafted a statement explaining that Nathan Roberts was no longer affiliated with Bloom's due to financial misconduct. I would be taking over as sole owner and CEO. The statement went public the following Monday. The response was overwhelming. Most people supported me. Some of Nathan's friends tried to defend him, but the evidence was too strong. Within 2 weeks, I had full legal control of Bloom's. Nathan's attempts to fight the prenup failed in court. The judge ruled in my favor on every point. The criminal investigation into the embezzlement was still ongoing, but Nathan's lawyer was already working on a plea deal. He would probably avoid jail time if he agreed to pay back what he'd stolen. I didn't care about the money anymore. I just wanted him gone. Standing in Bloom's on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, I looked around at the restaurant I'd saved. The tables were empty, waiting for dinner service. The kitchen was clean and ready. This was mine now. All mine. And I was going to make it better than ever. The day of the anniversary dinner started with an early morning visit to Bloom's. I needed to see the space one more time, to prepare myself mentally for what was coming. The restaurant was empty, quiet. Morning light filtered through the windows, illuminating dust motes in the air. I stood in the private dining room where Nathan had arranged our celebration. White tablecloths already covered the tables. The good silverware was set out. Someone, probably Simone, had placed white roses and glass vases on every surface. My phone buzzed. Tom Patterson, the private investigator. Last-minute update, he said when I answered. Nathan met with Simone this morning. They practiced what they're going to say tonight. She's definitely in on the plan. Did they mention me? Nathan said, and I quote, "Amber won't make a scene. She never does. She'll just sit there and take it." Something cold and hard settled in my chest. Thanks for letting me know. You need anything else from me? No. You've given me everything I need. After hanging up, I walked through the restaurant one more time. I'd spent so many hours here building this place with Nathan. I thought we were partners in every sense of the word. How wrong I'd been. Back at Rachel's house, I took my time getting ready. The blue dress hung in the closet, pressed and perfect. I did my makeup carefully, not too dramatic. Natural. Composed. Rachel watched from the doorway. You look beautiful. I feel sick. That's normal. You're about to walk into an ambush. An ambush I'm ready for, I reminded her. Still, it takes courage. I checked my purse for the 10th time. The manila envelope was there, thick and heavy. Inside were all the documents Patricia had prepared. Divorce papers. Asset transfer forms. Evidence of embezzlement. Everything I needed to end my marriage in one decisive move. What if I can't do it? I asked Rachel. What if I get there and I freeze? Then you leave. No shame in that. But I want to do this. I need to. Rachel came over and hugged me. Then you will. You're the strongest person I know, Amber. You've got this. We arrived at Bloom's at 6:30. Cars already filled the parking lot. Through the windows I could see guests mingling, drinks in hand. Everyone looked happy, expectant. None of them knew what was coming. Rachel squeezed my hand. Ready? As I'll ever be. Inside, the noise hit me first. Conversation, laughter, music. People turned when I entered, smiling and waving. My mother rushed over to kiss my cheek. Nathan's father shook my hand, telling me I looked lovely. I played my part perfectly. Smiled. Thanked everyone for coming. Accepted congratulations on 8 years of marriage. Nathan stood near the bar, talking to his business partners. He looked good in his suit, confident and relaxed. When he saw me, his eyes lit up with something that might have been affection if I didn't know better. There's my beautiful wife, he said, coming over to kiss me. I let him. His lips felt like touching a stranger. You look happy, I observed. It's our anniversary. Why wouldn't I be happy? I wanted to say because you're about to destroy our marriage in front of everyone we know. But I just smiled instead. Simone was there too, wearing that red dress. She stood by the windows, playing the role of event coordinator perfectly. Adjusting flowers. Checking with the servers. Looking busy and professional. But I saw how her eyes kept finding Nathan. How she smiled whenever he looked her way. Dinner was called at 7. Everyone moved into the private dining room, finding their assigned seats. Nathan had arranged the seating carefully. He sat at the head table with me on his right. Simone's table was directly in front of us, close enough to see everything clearly. The first course was served. Butternut squash soup, one of Bloom's signature dishes. I'd created the recipe myself 3 years ago. I ate mechanically, tasting nothing. My hand rested on my purse under the table, feeling the outline of the envelope through the fabric. Nathan ate with enthusiasm, complimenting the food loudly. He was performing, I realized. Setting the stage for his big announcement. Look how magnanimous I am, praising my wife's restaurant even as I prepare to leave her. The main course came next. Herb-crusted salmon with roasted vegetables. Another dish I'd created. Nathan's business partner made a toast. To Nathan and Amber, 8 years strong and many more to come. Everyone raised their glasses. I raised mine too, knowing it was a lie. As dessert was being served, Nathan stood up. The room quieted almost immediately. This was the moment he'd been building toward all night. I set down my fork and placed my hands flat on the table just as I'd practiced. My heart was pounding, but my face remained calm. Nathan started his speech. Marriage. Honesty. Being true to yourself. I watched the faces around the room. My mother smiling proudly. Rachel watching me with concern. Nathan's father checking his phone. None of them saw it coming. Then Nathan gestured to Simone. She stood smoothly, that practiced smile on her face. She moved to stand beside him, her hand on his arm. The room went still. Confused whispers started. "This is the end for us, Amber," Nathan said, looking directly at me. "I found someone new." The whispers turned to gasps. My mother made a sound like she'd been punched. Rachel half stood from her seat. I did nothing. I just sat there, exactly as Nathan had predicted. Quiet. Composed. Taking it. Let him think he'd won. Simone looked at me with pity and triumph. "I know this is hard," she said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "But it's better to be honest, don't you think?" That's when I moved. Slowly, deliberately, I picked up my wine glass and took a sip. The room watched me, waiting for tears, for anger, for something. I gave them nothing. "Thanks for the heads up," I said quietly. Nathan blinked, confused. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I reached into my purse and pulled out the envelope. It felt heavy with possibility, with justice. "Since we're being honest tonight," I said, standing up, "I have something for you too." The walk around the table felt like it took forever. Every eye followed me. I could hear my heels clicking against the floor, loud in the sudden silence. I handed Nathan the envelope. He took it automatically, still confused. "Open it later," I said softly. "Or don't. Either way, you're going to scream." Then I addressed the room. Thanked everyone for coming. Told them to enjoy their dinner. My mother tried to follow me, but Rachel intercepted her, whispering something I couldn't hear. Nathan grabbed my arm. "What's in the envelope, Amber?" I pulled away. "Your future. Or lack of one." Simone laughed, that awful high-pitched sound. "You're pathetic. Just accept it's over." I looked at her directly. "I accepted it 3 weeks ago when I found out about you. Everything else I did after that was just preparation." Nathan's face went white. "What do you mean, 3 weeks ago?" I didn't answer. I just walked toward the exit, Rachel beside me. Behind us, I heard paper tearing. Nathan was opening the envelope. The first scream came just as I reached the door. No. This can't be legal." Then louder. "Amber. Amber." I didn't turn around. I just kept walking out into the cool night air, away from my marriage, away from Nathan, away from everything that had been holding me back. The screaming continued behind us, growing more desperate. "What did you do?" Rachel asked as we reached her car. "I gave him exactly what he deserved," I said. "Nothing." The next morning, I woke up to sirens. For a confused moment, I thought I was dreaming. Then I heard Rachel's voice downstairs, sharp and worried, talking to someone at the front door. I pulled on jeans and a sweater, my hands shaking slightly. When I got downstairs, 2 police officers stood in Rachel's living room. "Miss Hayes?" one of them asked. "Amber Hayes?" "Yes. We need you to come down to the station. We have some questions about a complaint you filed regarding embezzlement." My lawyer Patricia had warned me this would happen. The formal investigation into Nathan's theft was moving forward. "Of course," I said. "Let me get my things." Rachel insisted on coming with me. At the police station, I was led into a small interview room. The detective was a woman in her 40s, tired eyes but a kind face. "Ms. Hayes, I'm Detective Reeves. I've been reviewing your complaint against Nathan Roberts. Can you walk me through what you discovered?" For the next 2 hours, I explained everything. The suspicious behavior. Hiring Tom Patterson. The discovery of missing funds. The paper trail showing Nathan had been transferring money from our business account into his personal account for 6 months. "That's $214,000, Detective Reeves said, checking her notes. "You're certain about that number?" My accountant confirmed it. "And you believe he was using this money to fund an affair?" "I know he was." The investigator documented his spending. Hotels, jewelry, expensive dinners. All charged to that secret account. Detective Reeves made more notes. "We've brought Mr. Roberts in for questioning. His lawyer is present." They're not being very cooperative. That's not surprising. The evidence you've provided is solid. Bank records don't lie. But I need to ask, why did you wait? If you discovered this 3 weeks ago, why not come forward immediately? I'd prepared for this question. I wanted to protect myself first. If Nathan knew I'd discovered the affair and the theft, he might have tried to hide more assets or destroy evidence. I needed to make sure everything was documented properly. Smart, Detective Reeves said. Most people would have confronted him immediately. Most people don't think their husband will steal from them. After the interview, Patricia met me in the station lobby. How did it go? Fine. They have everything they need. Good. Because Nathan's lawyer called me this morning. They want to negotiate again. There's nothing to negotiate. That's what I told him. But Nathan is desperate. He's facing criminal charges. His girlfriend left him. He's about to lose his business. He's grasping at anything. We walked outside into bright sunlight. My phone had been buzzing constantly, but I'd left it in Rachel's car. Now I checked it and immediately regretted it. 52 new messages. Most from numbers I didn't recognize. But also 1 from my mother, 3 from Nathan's mother, and a dozen from Nathan himself. I opened my mother's message first. Call me. We need to talk about last night. I called her from Patricia's office, where we'd gone to discuss next steps. Amber, honey, my mother said when she answered. Are you okay? What happened at dinner? Nathan happened. He announced he was leaving me for someone else. I know I was there. But what was in that envelope? He was screaming about lawyers and police. I explained the situation briefly. The affair. The embezzlement. The prenup that gave me full ownership of Bloom's. My mother was silent for a long moment. Then she said, Good. Good? Good that you protected yourself. Good that you didn't let him get away with it. I'm proud of you, honey. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but you did the right thing. Tears surprised me hot and sudden. I feel awful. Of course you do. Your marriage ended. That's allowed to hurt, even when you're the one ending it. After hanging up with my mother, I checked Nathan's messages. They started apologetic, turned angry, then became desperate. Amber, please. We need to talk. You can't do this. The restaurant is mine too. I'll go to every newspaper. I'll tell everyone you're trying to steal my business. Please. I'm begging you. I made mistakes, but you're ruining my life. I showed them to Patricia. She read through them without expression. Save all of these. They might be useful if he tries to claim you're being unreasonable. What happens now? Now we wait for the prosecutor's office to decide whether to file criminal charges. With the evidence we have, I'd say it's likely. Nathan will probably be offered a plea deal. And the restaurant? That's already settled. The prenup is clear. Your ownership was transferred legally. Nathan has no grounds to contest it. The next few weeks passed in a blur of legal meetings and paperwork. Nathan tried everything. His lawyer filed motion after motion, all denied. He showed up at Bloom's twice, causing scenes until the staff called the police. He contacted our mutual friends trying to convince them I was being vindictive. But the evidence didn't lie. Bank records, photos, testimony from Tom Patterson. It all painted a clear picture of a man who'd betrayed his wife in every possible way. Simone had disappeared completely. According to Tom, she'd moved back to her parents' house in another state. The money that had attracted her to Nathan was gone, and with it, her interest. I moved back into my house. Walking through the door felt strange. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt familiar. Nathan's things were still there. His clothes in the closet. His toothbrush in the bathroom. His coffee mug on the counter. I spent a weekend boxing it all up. Rachel came to help. Where are you sending it? She asked, taping up another box. Storage unit. His lawyer can give him the address. You're not even going to see him? Why would I? We have nothing left to say to each other. As we packed, I found things I'd forgotten about. Love letters from our first year together. Photos from our wedding. A Valentine's card where Nathan had written, "Forever starts today." It all went in the boxes. By Sunday evening, the house was clear of Nathan. It felt emptier but cleaner somehow. Like I'd removed a stain. My phone rang. Patricia. The prosecutor's office made their decision, she said. They're offering Nathan a plea deal. He pleads guilty to embezzlement, pays back what he stole plus damages, and gets 3 years probation. No jail time. It's a first offense. And he's cooperating. They think probation is reasonable. What if he refuses? Then it goes to trial, which could take months and might result in actual jail time. His lawyer knows that. he'll take the deal. I thought about Nathan in jail and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No pity. Just empty. When will the divorce be final? I asked. Another month, maybe 2. All the paperwork is filed. It's just a matter of processing now. After hanging up, I stood in my empty living room. My house. My restaurant. My life. Nathan had tried to take it all away. And he'd failed. The doorbell rang. I opened it to find a delivery person with a large box. Amber Hayes. That's me. Inside the box were papers from the courthouse. Official documents declaring the transfer of Bloom's ownership. My name was on everything now. I spread the papers out on my kitchen table and read through them carefully. It was real. Legal. Final. Bloom's was mine. The first morning I walked into Bloom's as the sole owner, the staff didn't know how to act. They'd all heard about the anniversary dinner. News travels fast in the restaurant industry. Good morning, I said, setting my bag in the office. Let's have a staff meeting in 10 minutes. Everyone gathered in the dining room. Servers, line cooks, dishwashers, hostesses. 23 people who depended on this restaurant for their livelihoods. I stood in front of them and took a breath. I know you've all heard about what happened with Nathan. I'm not going to pretend everything is fine because it's not. But Bloom's is still here and it's still going to be excellent. Better than ever, actually. Is it true Nathan stole money? One of the line cooks asked. Yes. He embezzled from the business. That's being handled legally. What matters now is moving forward. Are you closing the restaurant? A server asked, voice worried. No. Absolutely not. We're staying open. Everyone keeps their jobs. In fact, I'm giving everyone a 5% raise, effective immediately. Surprised murmurs went through the group. Nathan took money that belonged to this business, to all of us. I'm putting it back. We're going to be successful not despite what happened, but because of it. We're going to show everyone that Bloom's is stronger than one person's mistakes. The head chef Antonio stood up. He'd worked with us since the beginning. We're with you, Amber. Whatever you need. Others nodded. The hostess wiped her eyes. Thank you, I said. Now let's get ready for lunch service. That first week alone was hard. I had to learn parts of the business Nathan had handled. Supplier relationships. Financial planning. Marketing strategies. He'd always insisted on controlling those aspects, and I'd let him because I trusted him. Never again. I hired a new accountant who specialized in restaurant finances. Together, we restructured the books, making everything transparent and clear. No more secret accounts. No more hidden transfers. I also hired a business manager, someone to handle the day-to-day operations so I could focus on the creative side. Menu development. Quality control. Customer experience. Nathan called constantly. I never answered. After a week, he started showing up at the restaurant. The first time, I was in the office when Antonio knocked on my door. Nathan's here. He's demanding to talk to you. Call the police. Amber, come on. He's making a scene. Then call the police. He has a restraining order. He's not allowed within 100 feet of this property. Antonio looked uncomfortable but nodded. 5 minutes later, police arrived and escorted Nathan away. He shouted as they led him to their car, something about how I was ruining his life. The customers watched, some recording on their phones. It was embarrassing but necessary. The second time Nathan showed up, the staff called the police immediately without checking with me. He was arrested for violating the restraining order and spent a night in jail. He didn't come back after that. But his lawyer kept trying to negotiate. Patricia fielded the calls, always giving the same answer. No. He's offering to split the restaurant 60-40, Patricia told me during one of our meetings. He's getting desperate. Tell him no. He says he'll go to the media. Tell everyone you're being unreasonable. Let him. The truth is on my side. Nathan did go to the media. He gave an interview to a local news station, painting himself as a victim. He claimed I was taking advantage of a technicality in our prenup. He said the embezzlement was a misunderstanding, that he'd always planned to pay the money back. The interview aired on a Tuesday evening. By Wednesday morning, the internet had fact-checked every claim he made. People pulled court records. They found the evidence of his affair. They saw the bank statements. The backlash against Nathan was immediate and brutal. Restaurants he'd consulted for dropped him. His professional network distanced themselves. Even his own family called to tell him he needed to stop talking to reporters. I didn't watch the interview. I didn't need to. I was too busy running Bloom's. Business had dipped slightly after the anniversary dinner drama, but it was recovering. I'd introduced a new summer menu that was getting excellent reviews. Our reservation book was filling up again. One evening, about 6 weeks after the divorce proceedings started, I was closing up when someone knocked on the front door. It was late, past 11, and we were definitely closed. Through the glass, I saw a woman in her 50s, well-dressed and nervous. I cracked the door open. "We're closed." "I know. I'm sorry. I'm Nathan's mother." I almost closed the door. But something in her face made me pause. "Please," she said. "Just 5 minutes." I let her in, but we stayed by the door. I didn't offer her a seat or a drink. "I came to apologize," she said. "For my son. For what he did to you. You didn't do anything. I raised him. Somewhere along the way I failed. He turned into someone I don't recognize." I didn't know what to say to that. "I know you don't want to hear from any of us," she continued. "But I needed you to know that I'm ashamed of him. What he did was wrong. All of it. The affair, the stealing, the public humiliation. You deserved better." "Thank you," I said quietly. "Are you going to be okay?" "Yes, I think I am." Nathan's mother nodded. "Good. You're strong. Stronger than he ever gave you credit for." She turned to leave, then paused. "He's moving away. To California. His plea deal allows it. Thought you should know." After she left, I locked the door and sat alone in the dark restaurant. Nathan was leaving. Moving across the country. Starting over somewhere new. Good. I hoped he learned something from all this. I hoped he became a better person. But mostly, I hoped I never saw him again. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. "Dinner tomorrow? My place. Just us." "Yes, please," I typed back. I stood and looked around Bloom's one more time. This place was mine now. Truly mine. No one could take it from me. Walking out into the night air, I felt lighter than I had in months. The worst was over. The legal battles were winding down. Nathan was leaving. I was free. 6 months after the anniversary dinner, I stood in Bloom's kitchen at 5 in the morning, testing recipes for the fall menu. "Try this," I said to Antonio, holding out a spoonful of pumpkin risotto. He tasted it critically. "Needs more sage. And maybe a touch of brown butter?" "You're right." "Perfect." We worked together in comfortable silence, adjusting seasonings, testing combinations. This was my favorite part of running the restaurant. Creating something new, something that would make people happy. The morning staff started arriving at 6. The energy in Bloom's had changed over the past months. People smiled more. There was less tension, more creativity. Without Nathan's controlling presence, the restaurant had become the collaborative space I'd always imagined it could be. Business was better than ever. We'd been featured in 3 major food magazines. Our reservation wait list was 2 weeks long. I'd even had to hire additional staff to handle the increased volume. At 7, I went to my office to handle paperwork. The divorce was finally complete. Official. Legal. My marriage to Nathan was over, reduced to a stack of documents in a file folder. Patricia had sent the final papers yesterday with a note. "Congratulations on your freedom." I filed them away and focused on more important things. Payroll. Inventory orders. A proposal from a local farmer about sourcing organic vegetables. The restaurant opened for lunch at 11. By noon we were packed. I walked through the dining room, checking on customers, making sure everything ran smoothly. "Miss Hayes." A man at table 6 waved me over. "This salmon is incredible. Best I've had in years." "Thank you. It's a new preparation method I've been working on." "You're the chef." "An owner, yes." "Well, you've got yourself a new regular customer. I'll be bringing everyone I know here." Interactions like that made everything worthwhile. The stress, the pain, the public humiliation. All of it had led to this moment, standing in my restaurant, hearing genuine appreciation. Around 2, when the lunch rush died down, a man came in asking for a table. He was probably 40, dressed casually in jeans and a green button-down. The hostess told him we were booked, but he asked if he could sit at the bar. "I'm Julian Walsh," he said when I checked in with the bartender. "Food critic for the City magazine. I know it's unconventional, but I prefer to review restaurants without a reservation. Gives a more authentic experience." My heart sank. A food critic. And I hadn't known he was coming. "Of course," I said smoothly. "Welcome to Bloom's." Julian ordered the tasting menu, 6 courses of my newest creations. I watched nervously from the kitchen as each dish went out. He took notes after every course. Photographed some plates. Had long conversations with his server about ingredients and preparation methods. After 2 hours, he asked to speak with me. "That was exceptional," Julian said when I came to his table. "Truly." The flavor combinations are adventurous but balanced. The presentation is elegant without being pretentious. And that pumpkin risotto? Genius. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. I'd like to do a full feature. Interview you, photograph the restaurant, really showcase what you're building here. I'd be honored. We scheduled the interview for the following week. After Julian left, I allowed myself a moment of pure joy. A major food critic had loved Bloom's. Had asked to feature it. This could change everything. The interview took place on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Julian arrived with a photographer and a list of questions. Tell me about your journey with Bloom's, he started. I've heard there were some changes recently. I'd prepared for this question. Everyone in the industry knew about the divorce and the scandal. My ex-husband and I opened Bloom's together 6 years ago. Recently, I became the sole owner. It's allowed me to really develop the vision I've always had for this place. The vision being? Fresh, seasonal ingredients prepared with care. A dining experience that's sophisticated but not intimidating. Food that makes people happy. Julian made notes. You redesigned the menu completely after taking over. That's bold. It felt necessary. The restaurant needed to evolve. We talked for over an hour. About my cooking philosophy. About the challenges of running a restaurant alone. About my plans for the future. Any thoughts about expansion? Julian asked. Opening a second location? Eventually, maybe. Right now, I'm focused on making this location the best it can be. The feature ran 2 weeks later. It was 4 pages with beautiful photos of the food and the restaurant. Julian's review was glowing. Amber Hayes has transformed Bloom's into something extraordinary, he wrote. Her attention to detail, creative menu, and commitment to excellence are evident in every dish. This is farm-to-table dining at its finest. The day the article published, our phone didn't stop ringing. People wanted reservations. Other food critics wanted to review us. A television food show reached out about featuring Bloom's in an upcoming episode. I was overwhelmed and thrilled. Julian stopped by a few days later to see how I was handling the attention. It's been crazy, I admitted. But good crazy. You deserve it. Bloom's deserves it. We ended up talking for an hour, sitting at the bar after closing. He told me about his career as a food critic, the thousands of restaurants he'd reviewed, the trends he'd watched come and go. I told him about building Bloom's from nothing, the long hours and maxed out credit cards, the joy of finally succeeding. You're not just a good chef, Julian said. You're a survivor. That's rare. I didn't have much choice. That's not true. You could have given up, closed the restaurant, walked away. Instead, you fought. It was nice to talk to someone who understood the industry, who appreciated the work that went into running a successful restaurant. Julian started coming by regularly. Sometimes to try new dishes I was testing. Sometimes just to talk. We developed an easy friendship, built on mutual respect and shared interests. He never asked about Nathan. Never brought up the scandal. He seemed to understand that I'd moved past it and didn't need to dwell on what had been. One evening, about 8 months after the divorce, Julian invited me to a food festival happening downtown. Lots of great vendors, he said. Good networking opportunity. And honestly, it's fun. You should come. I almost said no. I'd been working nonstop, rarely taking time for myself. But something made me agree. The festival was crowded and energetic. Julian introduced me to other chefs, restaurant owners, food writers. We tasted dozens of dishes, compared notes, laughed at some of the more experimental combinations. It felt good to be out, to be social, to think about something other than work. You're smiling, Julian observed at one point. I am? You are. It's nice to see. Walking back to my car later, I realized he was right. I'd been smiling all evening. Genuinely happy. When had that happened? When had I stopped just surviving and started actually living again? The answer came to me as I drove home. It had been gradual. Each small victory. Each good review. Each successful service at Bloom's. They built up over time until I'd become someone new. Someone stronger. Someone happier. Someone who didn't need anyone else to feel complete. I liked this new version of myself. By the 1-year anniversary of the divorce, I barely thought about Nathan anymore. He'd become a character in a story I used to tell, not someone who still affected my daily life. I'd heard through mutual acquaintances that he was working as a sous chef in Los Angeles. Making decent money, but nothing like what he'd had with Bloom's. His plea deal had required him to pay back every dollar he'd stolen, plus damages. He'd be paying that debt for years. I didn't feel sorry for him. Bloom's was thriving. I'd opened a second location in a neighboring city. Nothing huge, just a smaller version of the original. But it was doing well and I was proud of it. Julian had become one of my closest friends. We grabbed coffee most Sundays talking about food, life, everything. He'd reviewed the new location and given it 4 stars. "You're building an empire," he joked over coffee one Sunday morning. "Hardly. 2 restaurants is not an empire. It's a start. What's next?" "I don't know. Maybe a cookbook? People keep asking for my recipes." "You should do it. Your voice deserves a wider audience." I considered the idea. A cookbook felt permanent, like cementing my success in a tangible way. That afternoon I called Rachel. "Want to come over? I need advice." She arrived an hour later with wine and Chinese takeout. We sat on my porch watching the sunset. "Julian thinks I should write a cookbook," I told her. "That's a great idea." "Is it? I don't know if I have enough recipes. Or if anyone would care." "Amber, you're being ridiculous. You're successful. You're talented. People would buy your cookbook." "I guess I'm still not used to thinking of myself that way." Rachel looked at me seriously. "It's been a year. You've rebuilt your entire life. When are you going to start believing in yourself?" Her words hit hard. She was right. I'd been so focused on surviving, on proving Nathan wrong, that I hadn't stopped to appreciate what I'd accomplished. "You're right," I said. "I need to change my perspective." "Yes, you do. You're incredible, Amber. Start acting like it." Over the next few months, I worked on the cookbook. Writing recipes, testing them repeatedly, taking photos. Julian connected me with a food photographer he knew, and together we created something beautiful. The process was therapeutic. Each recipe told a story. Some were from Bloom's early days, dishes I'd created with Nathan. Others were new, developed after the divorce. Looking at them together, I could see my growth. The old recipes were safe, classic. The new ones took more risks, showed more confidence. I was changing and my food reflected that. The cookbook was finished by spring. We titled it Bloom, Seasonal Recipes for New Beginnings. Julian wrote the foreword. "Amber Hayes knows reinvention," he wrote. "Her food tells the story of someone who faced adversity and emerged stronger. Every dish in this collection is a testament to her resilience and creativity." I cried reading it. The book launched in May with a signing at Bloom's original location. Over 200 people came. Friends, family, regular customers, fellow chefs. Even some food writers who'd covered the restaurant. My mother hugged me tight. "I'm so proud of you, honey." "Thanks, Mom. Your father would have been proud too." My father had died when I was 20 years before I'd met Nathan. But I like to think she was right. That he'd be proud of what I'd built. Rachel came through the signing line with a huge smile. "Look at you. Author. Business owner. What can't you do?" "I still can't parallel park." She laughed. "Okay, besides that." Julian was there too, taking photos for an article he was writing about the book launch. "How does it feel?" he asked. "Surreal. Good. A little overwhelming. You've earned this. Don't forget that." After the signing, a smaller group of us went to dinner. Julian, Rachel and her husband, a few close friends from the industry. We celebrated at a new restaurant downtown, somewhere I'd never been. It felt symbolic somehow. Trying something new, being somewhere unfamiliar. Not because I was running from the past, but because I was open to the future. Over dinner, Julian made a toast. To Amber. For showing us all what it means to rise from the ashes. From the ashes felt dramatic, but accurate. My marriage had been destroyed. My trust shattered. But I'd rebuilt. And I'd built something better. That night, lying in bed, I thought about the past year. All the challenges. All the growth. All the moments when I'd wanted to give up but didn't. Nathan had thought leaving me would destroy me. Instead, it had freed me. I discovered I was stronger than I'd ever imagined. More capable. More resilient. The restaurant was mine. The cookbook was mine. My life was mine. No one could take that away. My phone buzzed with a text from Julian. "Great night. Proud of you. Thanks for everything," I typed back. "Couldn't have done it without your support. You would have figured it out. But I'm glad I could help." I set down my phone and smiled in the darkness. I had good friends. A successful business. A book with my name on it. I didn't need romance. I didn't need someone to complete me. I was complete on my own. 2 years after the anniversary dinner that changed my life, I stood in Bloom's original location, preparing for a very different celebration. Tonight, we were marking the restaurant's 8th anniversary. 8 years since Nathan and I had opened the doors. 2 years since I'd become the sole owner. But this time, the celebration was genuine. The dining room was full of people who actually cared about me. Rachel and her family. My mother. Antonio and the rest of my staff. Julian. Friends from the industry. Regular customers who'd become friends. No drama. No hidden agendas. Just honest appreciation and joy. I'd closed the restaurant for a private event, something I'd never done before. But tonight wasn't about business. It was about gratitude. Thank you all for being here, I said, raising my glass. 2 years ago, my life fell apart in this room. But you all helped me rebuild. You supported Bloom's when you didn't have to. You believed in me when I struggled to believe in myself. I looked around at the faces watching me. My mother wiping her eyes. Rachel beaming with pride. Antonio nodding encouragingly. So this isn't just an anniversary celebration, I continued. It's a thank you. To everyone who stood by me. Who ate here when business was slow. Who told their friends about us. Who gave me a chance to prove myself. This restaurant exists because of you. Everyone clapped. Then Antonio stood up with his own glass. I've worked in a lot of kitchens, he said. With a lot of chefs. But I've never worked for anyone like Amber. She's not just talented. She's genuine. She cares about her staff, her customers, her food. Bloom's is special because she makes it special. More applause. I felt my face flush with gratitude and embarrassment. The evening progressed with good food and better company. I'd created a special tasting menu for the occasion, 11 courses that showcased Bloom's evolution over the years. Each dish told a story. The butternut squash soup from our first menu. The pumpkin risotto that had impressed Julian. New creations I'd developed recently. Between courses, people shared memories. A customer talked about the first time he'd eaten at Bloom's, when we were unknown and struggling. A food writer described how impressed she'd been watching me rebuild after the scandal. Rachel told a story about me calling her at 2 a.m, crying because I didn't think I could handle running the restaurant alone. And look at you now, she finished. 2 locations. A cookbook. Featured in every major food magazine. You're kind of a big deal. Everyone laughed. Julian caught my eye from across the room and smiled. Later, after most guests had left, a small group of us sat at the bar. Rachel, Julian, Antonio, and me. We were tired and happy, full of good food and good memories. What's next? Rachel asked. Are you going to open a 3rd location? Maybe. I'm also thinking about starting a culinary program. Teaching young chefs. Giving back to the industry. That's perfect for you, Julian said. You're a natural teacher. And we need more female chefs in this industry, Antonio added. More people who lead with heart, not ego. I thought about that. Teaching. Mentoring. Helping others avoid the mistakes I'd made. I'd like that, I said. Building something that outlasts me. Something meaningful. My phone buzzed. I almost ignored it, but then I saw it was from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I checked the message. Hi Amber. This is Nathan. My stomach clenched. I hadn't heard from him in over a year. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, the message continued. But I wanted you to know I saw your cookbook. It's beautiful. You deserve all the success. I'm sorry for everything I did. I hope you're happy. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I deleted it without responding. Everything okay? Julian asked quietly. Yeah, just someone from my past. Nothing important. And that was true. Nathan was my past. He had no place in my present or future. I looked around at the people still with me. These were the relationships that mattered. Built on respect and genuine care, not obligation or convenience. You know what? I said suddenly. I'm happy. Really, genuinely happy. Rachel grinned. About time you realized it. We stayed at the bar until midnight, talking and laughing. Eventually, everyone said their goodbyes. Julian was the last to leave. Great night, he said at the door. Thanks for being here. Always. You know that. After he left, I walked through the empty restaurant one more time. I turned off lights, straightened chairs, ran my hand along the bar. This place was mine. Built by my hands, filled with my dreams. No one could take it away. I thought about Nathan's message. His apology. His claim that I deserved success. He was right about the deserving part. But not in the way he meant. I didn't deserve success because I'd been wronged or because I'd survived his betrayal. I deserved it because I'd worked for it. Because I'd refused to give up. Because I'd chosen to build rather than destroy. His cheating had been the catalyst, but my success was mine alone. Walking out into the cool night air, I locked the restaurant door behind me. The street was quiet, peaceful. My car waited in the lot. I paused before getting in, taking a moment to appreciate where I was. 2 years ago, I'd walked out of this restaurant humiliated and heartbroken. Tonight I walked out proud and whole. The difference was staggering. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Julian. Forgot to tell you. There's a food festival next month in Portland. Wanna come? Could be fun and good for business. Yes, I typed back immediately. Sounds perfect. I drove home through empty streets thinking about the future. The culinary program I wanted to start. Maybe writing another cookbook. Possibly a third restaurant location. So many possibilities. So much potential. When I got home, I made myself tea and sat on my porch. The night was clear, stars visible despite the city lights. I'd come so far from the woman who'd handed Nathan that envelope 2 years ago. She'd been hurt and angry, operating on pure survival instinct. The woman I was now wasn't angry anymore. She was confident. Content. Ready for whatever came next. Nathan's betrayal had been devastating. But it had also been liberating. It forced me to discover my own strength, to build a life based on my own terms. I wouldn't change anything now even if I could. The pain had been worth it. Looking up at the stars, I made a silent promise to myself. I would never again let someone else define my worth. I would never again settle for less than I deserved. I would never again stay in a situation that didn't serve me. I was enough. Just me. All by myself. And that was the best revenge of all.